It is Bruins Benders post-game live on the Inside the Rink YouTube channel. Press subscribe and follow us on the social medias at Bruins Benders. It's Matty and Smitty. We are back after a Bruins road win with about 12 identifiable players. And once I got to know everybody's number, I was all set. And the Bruins win 4-0. Mark Kastelik scores a goal for the first time in 2025. Cole Koepke scores 2 for the first time since January 5th. And just as you drew it up and just as you bet it on DraftKings, the Bruins win 4-0 in Tampa Bay. And lo and behold, are 2 points out of a wild card spot.
2 points out.
Yeah.
This is my conspiracy theory. Everybody put their tinfoil hats on. Mm-hmm. This is what I think is going to happen now. Just to fucking spite me. Yeah. Just to spite me. Because they should be tanking for a draft pick. They're going to sneak into the playoffs. Uh-huh. They're going to play the Florida Panthers, and they're going to beat the Florida Panthers so they don't get the fucking first-round draft pick for Brad Marchand.
Yeah, they get the second.
And then they're going to get swept in the round after that.
Yeah.
By whoever it is.
That would be classic Bruins. And then you'd be out of the lottery.
Yeah.
You get some mid-level pick.
Yep.
It'll be a crapshoot.
Yep.
And here we are again.
It's just to spite me. No one else. Just me.
No,
just
nobody else.
Jamming up my ass.
Yeah.
Because I said they weren't going to make the playoffs. Now they're going to sneak in and they're going to get the shaft on the draft pick. Just
absolute shaft.
Fuck me over.
How about the defensive pairings today? With Ian Mitchell and Mason Lowe. I'll tell you what, the Bruins played as about as well as you could absolutely imagine today on the road. They played the type of game they had to play.
Sure.
They looked quicker to the puck, especially the first 3 or 4 minutes before the middle step penalty. They're all over the Lightning. Got every loose puck. I tell you what, every battle.
They added some speed.
They did. The guys they added all have speed.
Kuznetsov, I believe.
Kuznetsov
is fast, and I like. He seems to have a hockey IQ, which I enjoy thoroughly.
Yeah.
He made a bunch of little small plays that I saw and thought those are positive plays. Those are smart plays. I saw a play by Yoki Haru late in the game. He didn't have a play, and instead of just firing it around the boards, he ate the puck. It was. I almost got hard watching him do it. I mean, it was like, where has that been all year long? If you don't have a play, just eat it and don't make a dumb decision. So I thought he was pretty good today, and he passed the puck well. He was a pretty good puck mover. I don't know how he is overall, but he had a shot mentality in the offensive zone too. I don't think he hit the net once, but he was willing to shoot it from back there, which I liked.
Yeah.
Lauko's Lauko, and then Middlestat should have had 2 assists. Like they took the first one away for some reason.
Yeah.
But I thought all the new guys played pretty well and added some energy. I think guys are fighting for jobs now, so you're going to see some urgency from everyone about who's going to be in the lineup. You know, you have some new guys. You have some guys that were on the team that are kind of on the fence, some borderline guys. So there's going to be some competition there for spots. And you might see a little bit more desperate, a little bit more intense, a little bit more focused team. I thought the passing was much better today than
much better.
So, you know, overall, a really good game by them. Swayman was excellent. And let's be honest, they were fortunate. I mean, Tampa hit like fucking 14 posts.
God. And he made that unbelievable save on
unbelievable save on Hagel.
Yeah. Oh God.
So Swayman was great. And but you know, the Bruins were fortunate to a certain degree. You know, it could have been a much closer game. Look, if Hagel scores there, then it's an entirely different ball game. Yeah. And you know, maybe the collapse is on, but you know, they withstood it. Swayman with a huge stop, timely stop, and you know, they get a win and they're 2 points out. You know, who would believe that?
See, honestly, and I'll say this right now. Honestly, I am kind of rooting for them to make the playoffs.
Me too. I am.
I'm a fan that could. Like, what the hell? Like,
first and foremost, I'm a fan. I want them to do well.
Yes.
I mean, people confuse the dread and me saying that they're not going to make it. That's with my head. I'm thinking with my mind. I'm not.
You set yourself out for the failure. Yeah.
Yeah. I want them to win. I do. I've always wanted them to win. They just haven't shown me anything that makes me think they will. Is all. So, if they're going to play well down the stretch here, and they're going to have to earn it. Look, they have 10 of their 18 games left. They have 10 games against playoff teams. They play 11 on the road. They're going to have to earn it if they find their way into the playoffs. I still don't think it's going to happen. They have it was down to like a 3% chance that they would make it. Maybe it went up a little bit after the win today. I don't know, but the odds aren't in their favor at all. But
no.
If they're going to play hard the rest of the way, I'd like to see that. And I'd like to see some of these new guys do well and maybe, earn a spot for next year.
Yeah. I'm looking at the teams ahead of them again, like Blue Jackets, Rangers, Red Wings, Canadians. Like, do you trust any of those teams to go on a run here and take that spot? No. I mean, the Bruins could definitely take that spot because they're not great, the Bruins, but those other teams aren't great either.
No.
And if you have you have some youth coming in here and new guys trying to prove themselves and your goalie gets hot.
Yeah.
That's
a big one.
win some games. Yeah.
That's a big one. If Swayman gets hot down the stretch, he
can win some games.
They certainly can. He played really well in that series against Florida. They almost won. So, he has it in him.
Yeah.
Especially if I think, the Bruins may be playing with, everybody's counting us out kind of a thing now. You can rally around that, the guys in that room. You lose a captain, you trade away a bunch of the core guys that have been there forever. I certainly feel like at least early on, Tampa overlooked them today.
They did 100%.
Because Tampa's been hot lately.
They have been hot. But they played a lot of games, 8 in the last 14 days or something. So they've had a tough stretch here. But Vasilevsky was the perfect example. Just kind of laissez-faire, getting back into the net.
Yeah.
And that shot goes in from neutral ice. Like, you can't have that happen.
No.
Especially him. Like, he's one of the top goalies in the world. And they just didn't look like, and the Bruins did a good job of like really hunting pucks and playing the way like we thought that they should try to play this year. Like, just be in people's faces, be opportunistic, win 2-1. Like, that's kind of how you have to win with this team. And I think that now, once they got rid of some of these guys who, had some free agency status in their head, or they were comfortable like Carlo and Coyle, like, now you have guys who aren't that comfortable. They're trying to win jobs and prove themselves. Yeah. So there's a little bit of that. Now, I will say this. Usually after this, something like this happens, and you get like there was no morning skate. There was a bunch of guys who showed up to the rink and played like pickup hockey today, essentially.
Yeah.
So after today, like if they keep winning, then maybe you've got something. But that can be this is just one of those, today was a new day. Yeah. Nobody's thinking about anything but playing hockey. Right. And you win. But can they sustain it? I have no idea. Like, I have no idea.
Yeah,
they can't score goals, and I don't know.
Yeah, you look at who scored the goals today, and it's guys you don't expect to score goals. So, nice. You'd like that. You'd like secondary scoring. You would have liked it all year long. You just haven't gotten it. But I think you're right. Like, once the coaching staff comes in here and starts coaching guys, then those guys that played kind of free today because it was just like, go out there and play. We'll figure it out as we go, kind of a thing. Once they start getting coached on the details of the system, and they're going to be thinking now, where am I supposed to be? Where am I supposed to? Can I do that? Can I go here? I'm not supposed to go there. Like, so that stuff will get into their heads. They'll probably slow down some, which is not what you're looking for. Right. You want guys to play fast and free. Ideally, all year long. That's what you want. But it'll probably be a little bit of the, a reversion back, once they start getting coached into the system and that kind of thing. So, we'll see. It's been this way all year. They come up with a big win. And then in the next game, they get the doors blown off by somebody.
Yeah. And that could happen. That could happen Tuesday night.
Sure. They play Florida.
They play Florida Tuesday night.
So it's not.
So here's a question.
Yeah.
Let's say 6 games left of the season and they're right there.
Yeah.
Do they try to bring back McAvoy and or Lindholm?
I think they said Lindholm's done.
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 Okay.
McAvoy.
But they try to bring back McAvoy?
Yeah. It's like
They could.
Sacco pretty much said when the doctors clear him, he's playing. Like he's the type of guy who's like, I'm not going to sit.
Yeah,
I'm
gonna
not.
sit it out.
He's like, he wants to play. He's chomping at the bit. He wants.
So you're within striking distance, and McAvoy comes back. Then Jesus,
yeah,
like you might have a shot there.
You might.
I mean, it's an undertaking still. You still have you still played more games than others and all that, and you have a really kind of a tough. We talked about the road games.
Yeah,
but if you can start winning some,
sure. The problem is, can they sustain that stuff? Can they string some wins together? Whenever you start to think they've figured it out, it goes the other way. It goes the other way. Either they don't start well, or you get a bad performance from the goalie, or they're turning it over too much. Whatever the case may be, it goes in the wrong direction. They're playing well, and then they just come up against a team and they don't have it for whatever reason, and they can't, they can't grab the points they should get, or they just do some dumb stuff and it costs them.
For sure.
Can they sustain it? Can they build on this? Is the issue, and it's been the issue all year. They haven't been able to string many wins together in a row to kind of get themselves some momentum and then start feeling good. You get a little confidence, and then that thing starts going in the right direction instead of the wrong direction. But they haven't had that all year. It's been a year where it's just been like one bad thing happens after the next, and you just can't get above water. And it's been the story of the season, really.
Yeah. There's some mixed reviews here in the comments about either tanking or most people want to tank. Most people want Misa, or they want Higgins, or I still don't think you're going to get there. I still don't think you're bad enough to completely plummet. I just don't. I don't think you're going to be bad enough. No,
like you said, there's too many bad teams. There's too many bad teams out there. I mean, there really is. There's too many mediocre teams that if you don't show up, or they don't like, the margin to win or lose is so thin in this league most of the time that you'll have teams that just won't show. Like today, the Lightning, a much better team than you on paper, obviously, and don't show up, and you beat them 4-0 on the road. And there's no reason for it, really. Like
there's zero reason for it.
Yeah. So anything can happen in hockey, really.
Yeah. Anything can happen.
Goalie, good night. Too many posts, whatever the case, whatever it is. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, if they win Tuesday, I think you have to start thinking about they're still kind of in it, and they might be in it till the end. They might be. They might be in it to the end. I'll tell you what, this organization will do whatever it takes to make the playoffs. They'll get those two friggin' gates at least.
Sure.
In the playoffs. Like, they'll try like hell. If they're still within striking distance, they'll do what they can. Swayman will play the rest of the games if he has to.
Yeah.
They'll try to get there. I swear to God, they'll still try to do it. Because that's what they'd rather do.
They should. Look, the players should play to win and try to win. And like you said, and we've said, there's guys there that are fighting for NHL jobs now. Like, Lauko doesn't want to spend the year in Providence anymore. Like, those guys, like, they're going to try hard here. Like Lettieri and all those guys are going to play as hard as they can. He added some things today. I thought he was pretty good. He's an older guy, but he's quick too. Like, they had some speed in the lineup tonight, and I think it was a positive. And I think that should show, Neely and Sweeney, like the big bruising, that's not really what you need. You need guys that are fast, that can get in on the forecheck and cause turnovers. And that's the way, especially when you don't have a lot of scoring talent, that's the way you have to play.
You gotta get turnovers.
Cause turnovers, create some havoc around the net, and then you can score some goals, maybe.
And that's how it happened today.
Yeah.
All right. Odyssey says, so hard to watch this Middlestat guy, softer than clam chowder. You just see that he will be part of a trade in the summer, not a Bruin. And catch these nuts. Where is he to be found after 20? I thought who's nuts it off, or whatever his name is. I thought that he who's Zadorov. He had 3 shots and 2 block shots. I think it was something like that.
Yeah.
Or 3 hits and 2 block shots. I think it was. And I kind of liked his style. Like, he's undersized, but he does have some skill. Seems like he plays with a little bit of with some energy.
Yeah.
And he's got speed. Like
Yeah.
that's just
He's only
that's what's
22.
killed.
Like,
I know.
he's
And
only
he's an
22.
AHL right now. He's an AHL player. I mean, he's up right now
Yeah.
because they're giving him a look probably because they're up against it. But he's essentially an AHL player. He hasn't played, in the NHL all that much. So, I think that this is a good way to kind of see what he has. Look, he may not amount to much, but at least it's a young guy with some promise and some speed.
Yeah,
so
I would say that he has a pretty good hockey IQ. I thought he was pretty good today overall. And playing with, I mean, I guess he knows Lauco, but playing with guys he doesn't, know all that much about. And he was fine. And he's young and he has some offensive upside. And you got him for Justin Brazeau, who, I don't know.
That's such a nothing burger.
I don't know if Odyssey was looking to ship Justin Brazeau out of town, but you and I certainly were.
Yeah.
So to be able to get a guy like that for Justin Brazeau, I'm fine with it. I am fine with it. And if he wants to be, if he's going to be a prospect in Providence, he just adds another, there's a prospect to your pipeline that you didn't have before, who's better than what you have now. So
1 year ago, nobody wanted Justin Brazeau but you. So now he becomes a little bit tradable, and you get at least a guy that has a little bit of upside, and you can see what you get with him. You know what I mean? Like, okay, like Justin Brazeau is a big nothing burger, folks. Like, I love Bruins fans just fall in love with these guys. What are you going to get for Justin Brazeau? You were going to get nothing for him at the beginning of the year, and now you get something. Okay, great. You weren't going to sign him again, and God, please don't sign him again. He's slow as dirt. Like that's it. Like he hasn't done shit for a couple of months. Like just get rid of him, and they did, and they got something for him, and they got, they got a pick in two. In an AHL guy who can spot you here and there in Lauco, and they get this guy who's 22 years old. Like, great.
Yeah.
Great. Like, see, that's a win in that trade. Matthew Curtis says it was needed, and overall, it was a very successful trade deadline with the exception of one trade. We got younger, faster, we got assets, draft capital, took up a team that was way too comfortable. I agree. I mean, the team you saw that this team played much more like the team should have been playing, and you can tell it. The team was kind of comfortable for much of the year. We kept talking about how comfortable they were.
Yeah,
and they fired two coaches.
No accountability.
Fired two coaches and didn't hold the players accountable at all. And this is what you ended up with. So now you have to go get a coach who's going to coach these guys and coach the speed and coach to a system that has forechecking and speed and uses your young legs. And you should do that thing and get away from this. We're going to get so big and heavy. That was their biggest downfall, is that they got all these big, heavy guys. Yeah. And that was such a stupid move. Like, that's such a simple, stupid move. Like, that's just taking a simple look at it. Like, it's not about size. It's about the compete level and the grind and the forechecking and a little bit of speed and quickness. It's all that stuff. It's not about big. That's stupid. So now they got to get away from that. And hopefully these trades showed that they realized their mistake and they got to get back to this thing.
Yeah, I thought they made 5 trades. I would say 4 of them were gigantic wins. Huge ones.
So too. Yeah.
And the Marchand trade, I think, honestly, you can debate whether or not the Bruins fucked it up and whether he should have been traded at all based on how much they offered and the AAV and the term and all of that. You can debate that up and down, and we probably will. But the return they got from Marchand, I think they did the best they could. They tried to help the guy out. They tried to do him a solid. He wanted to stay on the East Coast. He wanted to go to a contender where he had a chance to win, and they did the best they could with the return on that trade. So if you want to kill anybody for that thing, kill Brad Marchand for that. Yeah, because he was the one who said, "I want to go to Florida," and the Bruins did him a solid. Did they have to? No. But I mean, if you're going to say they shouldn't have got rid of him, then you should say that they should have done him a solid for playing here for 16 years. So they did the best they could. They got a conditional second that could end up being a first. So And who knows? Maybe the guy comes back and signs. It's unlikely.
It's unlikely. I think it's more likely that he re-signs with the Bruins after next year, like takes a 1-year deal with Florida or somebody for next year, and then finishes career with one last year in Boston. I think that's more likely than coming back this summer. But I don't think that's as likely either. No, I think it's more likely than the other scenario.
Yeah, I don't think he's coming back. I think he's done here.
No, I think he's done.
Because of how that negotiation kind of went.
I'll tell you what, we were right that he was salty about the Swayman thing, and everybody, no one's taking discounts anymore, which is what we said. And they tried to give him a discount again, and he said, "F you." And he said, send me to Florida. And they said, okay, Brad, we're sorry. And that's what happened. So, we said it. He was pissed because he said things about Swayman indirectly in the media about going to the media. And I don't talk about my contract in the media and blah, 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 blah. You could tell he was already irritated with all these other guys getting this big money. He took a discount the first time. He wasn't taking a discount the second time. What do they offer him? A discount. Yeah. So he was like, no, I'm not taking it. So there you have it. It was pissing him off that whole discount thing was going out the window with these guys coming through every year. Then they gave him Elias Lindholm, like you said, $7.75 million, like a bunch of assholes. And then he says, "There's another guy that gets all this money. I'm not taking it. I'm not taking $3 million a year, Donnie." So that's that. There it is.
There it is. Yeah. So, like I said, it comes back to they did the best they could with and he's hurt because you waited too fucking he's hurt. So that kind of kills his value a little bit there too, but they did the best they could with that trade. They did. So I thought, as much as I have crushed Sweeney, and I still don't think he should be in charge of the rebuild. I still don't think so.
No, he did
fine. He did good at the trade deadline. He did well with the trades they made, with the guys they brought in. I thought. So we'll see where it goes from here. They still have a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. They got to convince some guys with elite talent to come here. That's not going to be an easy sell. Even saying you're going to play with Pastrnak, that's not going to be an easy sell. So, they have some work to do ahead of them still to try to right this thing. But, it is what it is at this point.
But over the course of the time, like, Donnie's been good at trades. Like, you can say what you want him. You can hate his guts all you want. But for the most part, he's done pretty well with trades over the past. Like, that's his wheelhouse. Like, he'll wait it out and he'll convince a team to give you more. Look what he got for Charlie Coyle. Are you shitting me? That guy is about to. It's near the end for Charlie Coyle. He was so horrifically bad all year long, and you get a young center, and you get all this. I mean, you get a bunch of assets for Charlie Coyle. I mean, you get a pretty good amount. You get Minton in a first for Carlo, like. Those are pretty good wins there. So he's done that in the past. It's the drafting and developing of players and trying to get the best out of the young players and giving them a chance to succeed in the NHL that they failed at. Yeah. So that's the problem. They get all this draft capital, which is great, but that's where I'm scared to death.
Well, that, and I think the culture within the organization of not holding the guys accountable.
Yes,
you
it's too much a country club.
Like you didn't take the coach's side, you took the player's side against Cassidy, and then you hired an opposite guy in Montgomery, and then you decide to change course on the type of team you want to have, and Montgomery's style doesn't fit those guys, and then you leave them out to dry as a lame duck coach instead of firing the guy if you knew he wasn't going to be able to coach that style. So there's been some of that stuff I don't love either. But you're right. The trades he's been fine at. It's the other stuff around that. It's the cap management. It's the creativity with making moves and letting assets walk with, for nothing, some of that stuff. But the trade piece part, he's done fine with, for the most part.
He has. Over time, he has done better with that. Matthew Curtis says Sweeney still needs to be fired for painting us into this corner. Well, I'll tell you what, Charlie Jacobs came out and basically said Neely and Sweeney are going to be around for a while. Neely's going to be around until Kingdom Come. Anyway, Sweeney, there's a chance if this doesn't get any better that Sweeney will go. It's not anytime soon right now. No, and I'll tell you what, that day yesterday, even before Charlie Jacobs said anything, tells you everything you need to know that he's staying. Because they wouldn't have allowed him to do all that if he wasn't staying. That's absurd. So as soon as that started trickling in, and it was a landslide of friggin' trades and core guys leaving and everything we thought he'd never do.
Yeah.
Like every player I wanted him to trade, he traded.
Yeah.
Every single guy.
I mean,
even Coyle and Carlo, which I didn't think he'd do.
I mean, I have to give them credit. I mean, I said until I see it, I'm not going to believe it. And he did it. He stepped up. He made the moves they needed to make. Even the Marchand one, which was, hard on him, hard on Marchand, hard on the organization, hard on the fans. Clearly, fans are pissed off. They said they're not going to root for the Bruins anymore, and all this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I saw that one coming a mile away.
I have a message to fans that have been, that haven't been around that long. We're both older guys. We've been through quite a bit with this organization, with the Bruins, in our life as fans. The people that have only been around and, in the Chara, Bergeron, Pastrnak, Marchand years, you've had it very, very good.
Very good. Very good.
And it hasn't always been like that.
No.
So all you people need to have a little perspective as to now you're not going to be a fan of the team anymore.
Yeah.
Because they traded one of your favorite guys.
We would have been that way a long time ago.
Yeah. I get it. You're pissed off, shit happens. But he wanted it. Marchand wanted it. You understand that, right? He wanted to go somewhere else.
He did.
He didn't want to stay. Felt disrespected by the team. He wanted to go somewhere else to compete for a cup.
He did. He wanted to go. So that's what happens when he wants to go. And you're right. I think you're right. They did about as well with the injury and that. They did about as well. If he wasn't injured, they would have done better. It's obvious.
Yeah.
But they didn't. And I said to you guys in a group text before it happened, I'm like, what about Florida? Take Anton Lindell back.
Yeah, you did.
Fucking Florida comes out of nowhere, or Marchand says, "Let's send me to Florida."
Right.
And there it is. So I think you're right. I think, Marchand, it was the end. And I think it all started at the beginning of the year. I mean, I just think it was sort of lining up this way. That Swayman negotiation, I think, was the final tipping point with him, where he was going to dig his heels in and say, this is what I want.
Yeah.
I want a third year, or I want X amount of money, or whatever it is, or both. And I think that started then. And I think it made it hard. I don't think they ever got close. And all the things that Marchand and Sweeney were saying in the media just lined up to where it was going to happen. And I thought it was happening 6 weeks ago. Because everything they said, Marchand never said, I'm going to be a Bruin for life, or this is going to work out. Sweeney didn't say, well, we're going to come to a common ground. It'll be like he did with Swayman. He said that with Swayman. Never said it with Marchand.
Nope.
So it just all lined up that way. Sometimes you got to read between the tea leaves there or whatever to see. And we are older guys. I mean, Smitty looks great for 70, but he still gets a Yoki Haru in his pants when the Bruins win. You know what I'm saying?
I thought he was good. I thought he was really good.
He was.
Honestly, I really do. I thought he was really good.
He was pretty good. He was. I thought he was Dennis Seidenberg a couple times because he's wearing 44, but whatever.
Yeah. I mean, he added an element of passing the puck that
he did.
They don't have.
They don't. That's the difference between him and Carlo. That's a big difference.
To make him a little more dynamic back there, skating the puck, passing the puck.
Who else played great was Andrew Peeke. Andrew Peeke played 22 minutes. Yeah. He had 6 hits for a defenseman. He played really, really well today, and he's been a really great addition since he came.
Yeah, that's another Sweeney trade.
Another Sweeney trade.
And
2.75.
Right. I thought Peeke all year long has been probably their steadiest defenseman.
I think so too.
Day in, day out,
steady.
Consistently good most of the time. All year long.
Yeah.
Not really many egregious turnovers from him.
No,
plays
not
PK,
games we like for.
plays physical. The only thing I would ask him to do is when he shoots on net in the offensive zone is to hit the net once.
Is a hit the net, once in a while.
Once in a while.
but he's not that guy.
No.
He's heading into the last year of his contract next year. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens there. And we'll talk briefly about who you think that Cole Koepke is a guy I think they might stay with. I think they may sign him.
Look, he has some offensive touch
speed. Yeah.
And has some speed.
And
two
size.
things that they could certainly use.
Yeah.
And I think if you played him with good players, I'm not saying it's going to be a Morgan Geekie situation. But I'm saying if you play him with good players, I think there's a chance that he could pop in kind of 15.
Yeah.
Like he would be fine. And like if he's a third liner and he's doing that, I'm fine with that. Especially if it's a short money deal.
I think if they had Kassel, Koepke, and upgraded Beecher, I think that could be a really good fourth line next year.
I agree.
I really do. I think, no offense to Beach, but I think that that's what they need to do. That line's fine.
Yeah, and the part of it too that I don't understand about, like they say Beecher, like he's a defensive zone face-off guy, and he's a penalty killer and whatnot. They were playing him at left wing. Patrick Brown was the goddamn center.
Yeah. No, Patrick Brown's a center at 32 years old.
He doesn't.
He's not doing that either.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, what value does the guy actually bring?
He's a worse wing than center, is what you're saying.
Like Koepke was out there killing penalties today. Like, if he's doing that, you don't need Beecher at all.
At all, right? And I'm really surprised Beecher wasn't included in a deal yesterday, because I thought he would be. I thought he would be sneakily put in somewhere. But next year, you're coming in with Zacha, Geekie, Pastrnak. And then you have Middlestad as you can actually play Zacha or Patra on a wing next year.
You could,
because you have Lindholm and Middlestad and either Patra or Zacha as the center.
Sure.
So you can put one of those guys on the wing. You need, in my opinion, 2 left wings. You need 2 middle 6 left wings.
Yeah, and probably 2 middle 6 right wings.
Right. I mean, you need. Yeah, you do. You do. You need a bunch of wingers. You do. And if you had Jack Gensel, like we said last offseason, you wouldn't.
I'm telling you, I'm throwing the bag at Mitch Marner. If he makes it to free agency, I am throwing the bag at Mitch Marner.
I am too. I am throwing the bag at him. Because if you could put Marner on the second line, and have Pastrnak on the first line, now you're cooking with gas. And you have a really decent, solid fourth line. And you have Middlestad as your third line center. Now you're cooking with gas. And you're basically bringing the whole, other than Carlo, the defensive core back. So, and you add Yogiharu instead if you re-sign him. You can make the playoffs next year.
I think so. That's why I was saying. I think if you can sign 1 or 2 elite guys, to go with some of these.
They're a borderline playoff team now.
Yeah. I mean, and I think they would have obviously a new coach and a new, next year would just be a fresh start. Like Swayman would have a full camp. Some of the new guys that were brought in last year, like Elias Lindholm was hurt at the beginning of the season. I just think you get a fresh start next year. Swayman will get a fresh start. You bring in a few higher end guys, and you'll be right there. I really think so. I think Marner could drive the second line offensively if you have him.
Yes.
It wouldn't fall to an Elias Lindholm.
That would help. That would help a Patra to have Marner on that wing.
Sure.
That would help bring the best out of Patra. So you could make your center better by just having Marner on the line.
Absolutely. I think you could go. You might even be able to play Patra on a wing there and have Elias Lindholm as the 2C.
Yeah,
and then you have some
Lindholm
defensive responsibility. You can win face-offs and
you got 2 playmakers with Lindholm who can't make a play to save his life.
Yeah,
you got those 2, and so now he becomes a 60-70 point guy like he was with Kachuk and Gaudreau.
Maybe.
Odyssey says, I think Yoki may stay out of mere necessity, but also low key fin, broad square jaw, shoulder hip ratio. This sounds like the NFL combine. Good hips, good feet, built to dash out some pain along the boards without puck floating off his stick. Nice package.
Really nice.
Yeah. So Connor says he's got all the additions and losses added up and in a graphic. Let's show it.
Yes.
Producer Connor. Yes, sir. Here we go. Subtractions. Brad Marchand, Brandon Carlo, Trent Frederick, Charlie Coyle, Max Jones. We didn't even mention him. Justin Brazeau and the 2026 5th round pick leaves Boston. 4, Casey Middlestat, Marat Husnadinov, Fraser Minton, Will Sellers, Max Warner, Jakub Lauko, 2026 first rounder, 2025 second rounder twice, 2025 fourth rounder, 2026 fourth and sixth, 2027 second that could turn into a 2028 first if Marchand plays 50% of the playoff games.
Yes.
So,
And
the Will Zellers kid seems to be a really
Yes.
intriguing kid going to North Dakota, really tearing up. What is the OHL this year?
No, he's in the USHL.
Oh, the USHL, really
He's
tearing up. Second scoring. Yeah,
he is. He's first in scoring. First in goals, second in scoring.
Second scoring, right?
But he's playing in the league as an 18-year-old. There are no other 18-year-olds in the league with more than 20 goals, and he is leading the league at 37 goals. I saw somebody. I don't remember who it was, and I apologize. I don't know if it was our buddy Robert Chalmers or Mark Diver or somebody that's seen him play in the USHL quite a bit, but said of the prospects the Bruins got, Zellers could be the best one. And he was a 3rd round pick, I believe, of Colorado. I think. So
that was a Coyle trade, right?
Yeah, the Coyle trade.
Oh my God! You get Middlestat and Zellers. I mean, that could turn into be just a great trade.
And a 2nd round pick in that trade.
And a 2nd round pick. My goodness. Odyssey says, agree on Marshy. There are probably a lot of behind the scenes speculation. I gladly hear from Matty. He was on it really early, maybe first, and Smitty. Thank you, Odysseys. I mean, sometimes you have to read between the lines. Like I've been listening to the guys talk. Yeah. Especially Sweeney. And you just listen to guys talk, and then the next situation comes and they're talking differently. It just leads you to believe that it's going to happen, and they're not going to come out and say it. And it's delicate, right? The Bruins don't want to look like assholes. Marchand doesn't look like an asshole and have the fans hate him. So it's a delicate process to make it happen.
Sure.
And I think they did okay with it. Like, I think most fans realize you had to do it. And I think most fans say Marshy should go to where he deserves that. Fine. Great. Like that's it. Like, so I think they did a decent job navigating through that thing. But let's not be naive to think that, Marchand was kind of irked about the lack of discounts people were taking. Yeah. And, that was a sure sign that they wanted to win when guys were taking discounts. Then when you're not, what's the priority? Is it to make money or is it to win the cup? And I think that he felt like that wasn't the priority here anymore.
Yeah, I agree. I think he thought that the Swayman thing was, the priority wasn't on winning. It wasn't
on winning.
It wasn't
setting the market.
Setting the goalie market, which I think they ticked him off because his priority, if you know him at all, has always been winning. So I think that got under his skin a little bit. And like you said, I thought both sides handled the exit as well as they could have. And, I think the Bruins did as well as they could have done, under the circumstances with the return they got in the trade. So, people can crush it all they want or crush the team or crush him, whatever. But I thought everybody handled it pretty well, and they did as well as they could.
You know what? This was the Bruins having to pay the hockey gods for the Taylor Hall trade.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
Sure. I guess it's a payback in that regard. I mean, I guess, yeah. It's interesting that Marchand's going in now with Bennett and Tkachuk and Marchand. What a tough assholery. What a tough little team that is to play.
That's gonna be fun to watch. Like as much as I just like Florida and can't stand them over the years. Sure. It's gonna be fun to watch, man.
Oh, it is for sure. B says, Matty, you just act 70. You don't look it. I do act 70. Jesus, I get off the couch today. I thought that I screamed and I yelled.
Yeah.
Because I was surprised. I mean, I'll be almost, 60 in 8 years.
That's because he was acting 20 down in the.
I was down in the DR.
Down in the DR.
Yeah, B and I were down in the DR, and she acts much younger than I do. And I was just like, there was a couple of times at the pool I fell asleep. I just fell asleep.
Yeah, of course you did.
Like I was just.
You're drinking. You're at the pool
drinking. That's another thing. You drink all day when you're 52. Just not a recipe for success.
No, it really isn't
at all. Oh, Mark McLaughlin is subtraction also. Thanks,
he was. Yeah,
67.
They got a mean defenseman from the New Jersey Devils.
They did.
Who likes to pound people.
Yeah.
So
I'll tell you what, keep an eye out for those Providence Bruins. Like a bunch of guys were on the roster, were added to the roster. The Providence Bruins might make a run this year because
everybody go down to
Providence.
Everybody go down to Providence and watch them play in the Calder Cup playoffs. It's gonna be a wagon, that team down there.
Oh my goodness. I mean, what a year that's going to be. Great. I mean, there's some people out there in the Bruins podcast world who are just talk about Yoki. How are you in your pants? They are their schmenza is pointing toward the sky.
Yeah,
they love the Providence Bruins.
Yeah,
no offense. I mean, it's great. So it's a nice cheap ticket. It's a good get.
It is a great take down here. It really is.
But you don't have a program to win the JV championship, as my high school coach used to say. That's not happening.
No,
like you have this organization so you can win the Stanley Cup.
Right.
So good luck to them. But we'd like to win at this level.
Yes.
One time. No obligations to them. James Big J Giorno Mackey says, how in the hell did they pull that out? That was wicked. Sure was. I'll say producer Connor nailed it. He had a 4-2 Bruins win today.
He did.
In his group chat. He did. I mean, but he smokes a lot of weed. I mean, it's
Yeah.
But he did though.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know how high he was when he said that, but
I know.
certainly
he nailed it. Yeah, he
should have put money down on DraftKings on that bad boy.
He should have. He would have won some
very well.
Yeah. So let's see what that was. Michigan Mike, remember how the fourth line started the year? Who were the players? Yeah, it was Beecher, Kaslik, and Koepke.
Yeah.
And back to where they were. Kaslik gets some revenge on Littleberg.
Yes.
For that concussion he
earlier in the
sustained
season,
on a high stick. So that was good to get that going. I just thought the Bruins played more like a team that was ready to play. I mean, they started on time, which I haven't a lot this year.
Look, I thought their last two games have been really good.
Yeah,
obviously, in Carolina, didn't get the result, but they played really well in that game. Had some bad luck. So that's two in a row where they played pretty well. So maybe
it is 100%.
Maybe there's a thing there.
Two good road. Yeah, two good road.
I mean, against really good teams.
Yeah,
Carolina is one of the best home teams in the NHL. 21 wins at home. And Tampa certainly is a very good team. And so, two good road games in a row. And now you go to Florida. You play good on Tuesday against them and get out of there with any kind of a point.
Sure.
I think maybe you got something going in the right direction.
You might get something going. You know what? I'm all here for it. I don't get. You're not going to get the top pick, so anything you're going to get like 7 or 8 if at best, and that's still a crapshoot guy. Like, okay, I mean, what's the difference between 7 and 15? Okay, great. So I'd rather than give me something to watch right here at the end of the year. Give us something to post game about.
I mean.
Jesus.
Post game lives will be a lot more fun if the Bruins actually are in the playoffs.
Yeah, think about the extra post game lives you get if they play any playoff hockey.
I mean, just to be around us for another, couple of weeks.
How good is that?
That's a reward in and of itself, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I tell you, Panthers, Senators, and Lightning next 3 games coming up. 3 playoff teams right now. And Senators is a big game.
It is a big game. They won. They win today in overtime. A Brady Tkachuk goal. But I tell you what will really be telling is if the next game against the Lightning. So the Lightning aren't going to take you for granted the next time. How do they perform in that game? That'll be interesting to see how that game goes. And if the Bruins hang around in that one and play them tough again, might have something.
You might have something. Jacob Jones says, I wish the NHL would change the rule about removing the helmet before a fight. I'm tired of seeing busted knuckles from visors. I think that's probably the reason why the visors are on, so people don't get concussed. But,
it's so they don't get hit in the eyes with pucks and sticks and so forth. But I mean, I'm kind of with you about the helmets during the fights thing. Because I mean, you're going to punch a guy and you're punching the top of his helmet half the time. So not only are you hurting yourself on the visor, maybe, but you're punching the top of a helmet that has all plastic sharp edges, bloodying up your hand for no reason at all.
Sure. Yeah. Rob Spector says some premium hoping on the playoffs. Which dispensary can I buy some of yours at? I'm telling you, the other team's not that good, Rob. And if you go on a little bit of a run here and your goalie gets hot and you're playing the right way, you might beat some of these teams.
Yeah, look, I'm still firmly in my belief that they will not make the playoffs. Okay.
Yeah. I don't think they're making it. I don't.
So I'm just saying the players are going to try to win, and I would rather see them try to win than, I would love for them to get the top pick, but I want them to, I want them to try. I like to see the Bruins win. I'm a fan first and foremost. So
100%.
It's hard to watch the games and root for them to lose, just because it goes against how I'm wired. So, I hope they can somehow sneak in here and give us some more.
I mean, you can't tell me it wouldn't be a fun. The story of the season wouldn't be just a fun story of.
That would be a fun. That would be a great.
My
story.
God, can you imagine that? You fire your coach, your team's in a shambles. You trade away 5 guys, like core guys, and then you make the playoffs anyway.
Yeah.
Like, my God. Then people are going to be like, boy, Joe Sacco, should he get the job? And I'm like, no, maybe that's the only reason why I don't want to make the playoffs. Just get a guy who can,
it's going to be a Cinderella story if they can pull that shit off.
It really is. My professional says big and heavy equals Neely brain. Absolutely. Neely puts a stamp on the team.
Yeah.
And maybe Sweeney's was like, you know what, Cam, didn't work. We tried it your way. Didn't work. Yeah. Now we're
hopefully that's what he's saying to him. I hope so. It seems like when Neely gets involved, bad things happen.
Things happen.
He should leave the hockey decisions to people who actually follow the team, scout the league, all that stuff on a day-to-day basis. I think he just comes around once in a while when the team loses and he's pissed and he throws some comments out there. I don't think he's keeping up as closely as everybody thinks he does. I think he goes to the games and wants them to win. And then when they don't, he'll come up with something, they need to be heavier. We can't beat this team because of the heavy, whatever it is. He's got to stay out of the way. Stay out of the way. When the comics come home, raise money for cancer, do all those nice things, and leave the hockey decisions to people who actually are around the team day to day.
Sure. Zach Hayes, the country club is over. Back to working hard. True. Y2 Jones, next coach needs to be Torch-like. Torch-light. Yeah, that's what Smitty's been saying. He wants a Tortian in there.
I do. I do. I want
some chairs.
I want a Bruce Boudreau. I want somebody that's gonna tell people to fuck off and hold them accountable. And producer Connor wants
right time to do it. Go ahead.
I think the next captain, Charlie McAvoy, is probably going to get named as captain by his father-in-law. But
okay. Mike Sullivan is the coach.
Sully.
Yeah.
Sully's a little bit of a whole guy's accountable guy. I think.
He is. No, he is. I think. Yeah. At least he looks like it. He's got like a scowl on his face.
Yeah, he does
all the time. Maybe.
Here's another thing that somebody pointed out on Twitter today that I didn't realize. Do you think Charlie McAvoy is going to change his number to 25 now that Brandon Carlo is gone? Whenever he plays internationally for the Team USA,
he plays 25.
He's always 25.
Really? That's an interesting take. They didn't take too long to give Trent Frederick's number away. They couldn't do that fast enough. 11 gets a penalty. I'm like, Jesus, it must be the jersey. Must be in burn that jersey. Shawn Michael was at the game today. Good. Took his daughter. Good for you guys. That's excellent. A nice take. Yeah. We'll be in Montreal April 3rd.
Yep. Could be Bruins, a big game.
Le Habitant. Could be a big game. It could be. I'm hoping. Let's just get there. Just be in position there. Less than a month from now.
That'd be fun.
That would be fun in Montreal. And they're in position. Like you could be tied, like right behind.
I want that. I want Montreal. I want that game to mean something to the Canadians, so you can see what it's like up there when they're fucking rocking and rolling. And it's like, it's going to be. That is going to be a scene, so I can't wait for that. That's going to be a good time. Yeah.
Marchand deserved to have a say in his destination, says Jonesy. That 100%. Also shows potential free agents how the team treats a loyal soldier on the way out. It does.
100% true.
That's a good point. That is a good point.
And keeps him happy for a return this season. In the summer.
In the summer, maybe, but he's going to be a one day deal in a couple of years.
Yeah, I think
whatever it
that's
is
what
when
it's
he's
going to be.
done. I mean, think about Marchand getting offered less than half of what Lindholm makes. I know suspect 63. And look, I didn't want them to spend a ton of money on Marchand because I think he's getting close to being cashed. I think he's getting there. I mean, this year he was pretty good, but then next year, now he has a shoulder injury to go with all the other injuries. And he's not very big. Like it's going to come a point where he's just not going to be as good, and I don't want to be here for that. So I want, and he was also an asset that you had. So trade the guy now, as hard as it is. But yes, 2 years, $3 million, as reported by Butchie. That's pretty low.
It is pretty low, but I mean, I honestly, I don't. I mean, I can see where the club's coming from. Like you said,
I do too.
He's 37. He has injury history. He's a shorter guy. You know, I don't know why you'd want to go to, 3 years at a rather high AAV. I don't get it. Like I would have gone higher higher than 3, obviously, for 2 years. But not much higher. Maybe, 2 times 5, 2 times, 6, if you're being real generous. Like I'm not going much higher than that. So
no, I'm not either. No, I'm not either. And I wasn't going that high.
No.
And I'm not glad, but I think it's the right move to trade him because I didn't want him to walk at the end of the year.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Sign him. So, B says that I'm much younger than her. Much older than her. She's much younger than me. That's not true. Not much.
I mean, much. I mean, yeah, much.
Yeah, but younger at heart, I guess.
Yeah,
it will be hard to take Marshy back. A team that's desperately searching for identity, leadership, that would shake up things the wrong way. That was part of it. I mean, to be able to trade a guy and offer him only 2 years, $3 million or whatever, and he's your captain. I mean, what does that say about how they felt you were as a captain?
Yeah, I mean, they said all the right things.
Is there something in there that if they really felt he was a great leader, don't they give him a little bit more, or does that raise the value?
I don't know. I don't know if they do. I think it's more his play rather than him on and off the ice. Like there's only so much he can do. Like he tried to drag them into the fight all year long. He played hard all year long.
He did. He always plays hard.
Yeah. So like he did all the right things. It's just the team wasn't very good, or was too comfortable, or guys had down years. I don't think that really reflects on him as a leader, because I think he tried to do things the right way while he was here. Would they have given him more because of the leadership part? I don't particularly think so. But I agree with Odyssey that, next year when they name Pastrnak or McAvoy, it's probably going to be McAvoy, I would assume, as the captain.
Yeah, I would say.
That, if you bring Marchand back for some reason, or they agree for that thing to happen, it does kind of send, it puts you back to where you were, before the deadline. It's the same leadership group. It's so I think you really have to kind of turn the page. You have to let McAvoy grow into that thing, because I think he's going to need time to grow into it. I don't think he's particularly ready for it right now. I would like to see them bring in some other veterans, that have been around the league in playoffs, kind of like a recce, that can kind of mentor some of the, whether it's McAvoy or Pastrnak, mentor some of the leadership guys, and be there as kind of a sounding board and help them kind of grow into the role. Because I think, you need to kind of start fresh there.
What do you think of this scenario? Marchand, let's say I don't know if they'll win the cup. It's hard to win back-to-back, but let's say they make a deep run or whatever, and he signs next year in the offseason with Pittsburgh.
I could see that. I've heard that thrown out, and I could see that. 100%.
And he plays a year with Sid. And maybe we're open to play with a year with Sid and then a year with McKinnon next year or something like that. But I'll say this: he's not coming back to Boston.
No, he's not.
One day deal.
Yeah,
but
at
coming back to play.
The whenever he decides he wants to hang it up, he'll sign a 1-day contract with Boston, retire a Bruin.
Yeah, that's what he's going to do, like Chara did, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could see him going to Sid and playing, if the Penguins were willing to give him, 2 or 3 years, he'll go there and play there. Sure.
Yeah.
And he'll have a couple of really good years playing.
He will
play
with Sid.
Crosby. Yeah. Crosby, Marchand, and Rust or whoever's playing on his right.
Rust. Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. Our Florida Garden says, I wanted youth and a bit of speed, and that's what they gave me. Still fire Sweeney. Fact is, we wouldn't be in this situation if not for him. Odysseys gives us this from Ty Anderson. Bruins with Zadorov and Jokiharju pairing on the ice today. 21-8 in advantage in shot attempts, 8-2 advantage in shots, 13-1 scoring chances, 4-0 high danger chances. Wow.
Yeah, there's my Jokiharju in my pants.
If that's your, you know what? Give me that third pair next year. Give me that.
I'm here for it.
Right there. Give me that third pair. Give me Pete Lowry and give me Lindholm and McAvoy.
Yep. Let's ride. I'm down for it.
Those trades were so un-Sweeney like. It seems like he was told to jettison anyone you can get something for, or else, says Fox Guy. I was really surprised that they went to that length. Like, I didn't think they'd do Coyle and Carlo, even though I thought right now it was a perfect time to do both. And he did. It was. And but the perfect time to do both. And the returns show it.
Yeah, it was a seller's market, 100%. It was a seller's market, and it was the right time to do it. And I didn't think he would do it either, but he mentioned it during the press conference. And as much as I killed him, I thought the press conference, he thought he handled it pretty well. He put some of the blame on himself. He said it was difficult. Like, I thought he was good in the press conference. But I tell you, I think he handled the trades well. And I think I lost my train of thought.
The trades with it wasn't Sweeney like trades, Carlo, Coyle.
Yeah, I don't know.
But Carlo and Coyle, those two trades were pretty good, as Smitty would say.
They were. Yes.
All the blood went to the wrong Jokiharju.
Yeah, it did. I did. I jammed up. Jokiharju and lost my train of thought.
You did. Beth Patember says she waited 39 years to see the Bruins to another cup. We waited, 14 years ago? Yeah, we were 38. We were right there, Beth.
Yep.
Yeah, we were right there. They won the cup
at the Apple.
They won the cup in 72, 6 months before I was born. So I had not seen a cup.
No.
To see Swayman and Lindholm, Elias, wearing the black and gold and Marchand not, that burns through my retina, says Odysseys, and will do so for as long as they play like shit. And I'll tell you, the Elias Lindholm signing, it does sort of leave a mark. Like, this is a bad one. Like, this is one that you're gonna be dying to get out of. You're gonna swear about. It's something that has a trickle effect. It does.
It does.
The type of signing.
Yeah. I mean, you can't put him in one of your top two center spots and be like, yeah, that's our guy going forward in one of the top two center spots, because he doesn't produce enough offensively. He just doesn't. So unless you can find, one of those elite talents to pair with him that's going to drive the line and he can be a passenger there.
Thank you.
And score some goals, then I don't know what's going to happen with him. They're going to be looking to buy him out or trade him with salary retained down the line to get out from under that thing. It's way too much money. I mean, it just is. It's way too much money. If they had signed him to a 7-year deal for, 5, I would be fine with it, but it's not. So you're going to be stuck with this damn thing for a long time to come. Hopefully it doesn't prevent them from signing some of those elite talent that you need to bring in.
I know you got a $7.75 million third line center, just like Smitty said in the summer. In the summer. Adrienne says, any progress on that off-air podcast concept? People are clamoring for the off-air.
For the off-air show.
We teased that while Matty was on vacation.
We did.
Oh, yeah? You did?
We teased it while we were on vacation. We also mentioned.
What was it about?
We mentioned that it would be maybe a subscription type of deal.
Yeah.
And people were still interested. So that's that's
Good.
exciting for us.
I'll tell you, that's exciting for us. Yeah.
So maybe that's something that will come up a little bit in the off season. There, we'll start to.
What's Nesson? $29.99. We'll go $28.99 a month. I mean, Christ, that's a steal.
Yeah, I was telling people like a few bucks a month. So
okay, few.
Yeah,
meaning
so we'll be substantially cheaper than Nesson.
Much better content.
Much better content, and the stream won't crap out every 2 minutes like Nesson's does.
I mean, who would you rather watch do a post game, Smitty Smith or Dale Arnold? You know what I mean? Like, come on, that's not even fair.
Yeah, it's not fair to Dale.
Even close.
It's not fair to Dale.
It's not Dale.
I look much better in a suit than Dale does.
Here. Yeah. Dale. Sweeney's did good in the trade, says Aussie Bruins now has to deliver on the coach, and that's a great point.
It is.
Who is your coach going to be next season? And it means a lot because you're gonna have some new guys in here.
Yep.
And a new approach, hopefully, new style of play. And like I said,
I think it's gonna be Mike Sullivan from Pittsburgh.
Okay. Yeah.
I wouldn't hate that, but I don't know if I would love that either. I would want it to be either a young guy that has some cachet, which I don't know where you find that guy. Like I don't know, like a Nate Lehman, like a hard-nosed kind of youngish coach. That's
Carl.
Yeah, maybe that hasn't really done it at the NHL level, or a guy like a Bruce Boudreau who has some, has won a cup, will hold guys accountable, somebody like that. So I would kind of go. It would be an extreme one way or the other for me.
I want an experienced guy. I don't want some inexperienced coach or younger up and coming, whatever the hell. I don't want that because you're going to have some young guys here and you're going to need an experienced coach to handle that. I don't want the coach to grow and mature with the players. I don't want that thing.
So do you want a guy that can relate to the younger players, the new generation of players? Like you are all over Spencer Carberry. He's a young kind of up.
Yeah, he is. No, he is. He's done a great job.
Yeah.
He's a great, So yes. I mean, I guess that type of guy, yes. I mean, but he's got to be a guy that can command the room, that can relate to the young guys, get them going, develop them, and also with the older guys, kind of keep them accountable at times. Yeah, they get a bunch of rope, but when you need to, do you kind of put it on them to be like, get this shit together, get your shit together, So that's the hard part.
They were talking about John Cooper today during the telecast and saying that he'll bench Kucherov for stretches of the game. Doesn't happen all the time, but he does it every once in a while, and he'll respond. So, like, the Bruins need a coach that is willing to do that and able.
And an organization is willing to give the coach the right to do that too. Like that's the other thing.
Sure.
How much of the coaching is done by the GM? Like, how much of that is dictated on what the coach can really do? Can he do that? And get the backing of the organization? Or are they going in the office and saying, Donnie, how come don't worry, Pasta, don't worry, fucking Sweeney.
I mean, so that's the thing that I think Sweeney, one of his other failures is instead of backing Cassidy when he should have, he backed the players and they shipped Cassidy out of town. And then he goes to Vegas and they win a cup. Like I've heard Cassidy is not an easy guy to play for. And then
Jonathan Marchand
said they basically told each other to fuck off and like would storm out and had maybe not the greatest relationship, but at the end of the day, he respected Cassidy because he was honest with him.
He scored 42 fucking goals, whatever it was.
Yeah, and they won.
They won.
So, I mean, if Cassidy has to be that way to get the most out of guys, or the coach has to be that way to get the most out of guys, that's what you want. I mean, if they don't have a long shelf life, they don't. But you need a coach that within the time that he's there, he's going to hold guys accountable and he's going to get the most out of players. And that's really all you can ask for.
But these other than Cassidy, these, Montgomery and even Julian, like they really kind of catered to the
Sure they did.
veterans and kind of
Yeah.
let them run the room. And then Monty even said it, like, boy, this room kind of runs itself. Well, it didn't when you lost the fucking first round after having an historic season because you fucked it up. Like, that's the problem.
I mean,
So,
the room runs itself, but so the captains or the leadership group holds the rest of the team accountable, and or you hold each other accountable, and that's great. But when it's a leadership person that's making a mistake or an error, the coach has to hold them accountable. And if he's not doing that, then what good is he?
Yeah,
because that just sets the precedence for the rest of the guys. If so and so can get away with it, then I can get away with it, and it just trickles down. And that's what happened with the Bruins. He caved to the pressure of either the upper management or to Patrice Bergeron himself, and was like, "Yeah, go ahead, you can play," even though they were winning in the series, and Bergeron was still probably hurt, and wasn't himself. They let him come back in, and then the series went to shit after that because he just wasn't the same. Sometimes, as a coach, you have to say things and do things that the player is not going to like. You're not supposed to be best friends with them. No, You're not supposed. No. It's not supposed to be like you go out for beers with the coaching staff. That's not how it is. No. The players bond together, and the coach and the staff is above that, is separate from that, and they have to hold the players accountable. And if you're best friends with the fucking guy and you can't hold him accountable, then it's not going to work. So, they need a coach brought in, and they need the management to back the coach, not the players.
100%. Matthew Curtis says Will Zellers is described as a fast, offensively talented thorn in the side. Who could that replace? Brad Marchand.
I think that's what Matthew Curtis was getting at. I think that's what he was getting.
That's what he's getting.
He's going to go to North Dakota next year. He's going to play there with the whatever the hell they're called these days.
The Fighting Sioux, aren't they? Are they the Fighting Sioux?
I don't think they're that anymore because
he can't be the Sioux.
Can't be Native Americans, even though that was one of the best jerseys.
The Fighting Wallendas? I don't know.
Best jerseys in college hockey. They're probably like the fucking Fighting Riverhawks or something bullshit.
Yeah, the purple people leaders
thing. So he's going to go there. He's going to play for a great program, storied college hockey program, and hopefully he just lights it up from day one, and we can be excited about that damn thing for a long time.
Yeah. Well, the Bruins have a ton of prospects in the NCAA.
They do.
They got Pelosi at Quinnipiac. They've got Gronwald is somewhere.
Vermont, I believe.
Vermont. Yeah. Morel on the BU next year. Yeah. Kostadinsky's going to Boston College next year.
Letourneau's still at BC.
Yeah, Mellis at UMass Amherst.
Yeah, Jelvik.
I don't know what's happened with Jelvik and Gasso. I mean, they're after junior year, they either come out or they have one more year.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there.
Jelvik's had kind of a disappointing season, but Gasso's scoring a bunch of goals for them.
Cam Show says UND are the Fighting Hawks now.
Yeah, it was close.
Weirdly close. Yeah. Sue was an all-time mascot. It was.
It was.
Absolutely
so good.
Yeah, it really was. Let's see what else is out there. Marshy asked to leave. They repaid his loyalty, as they should have, and that's probably very true. Brandon Carlo being what do they say? Somebody said Brandon Carlo was snarly and hard to play.
Yeah, it said something about can't wait to see Carlo, staple somebody to the boards, and then I think Matt Doloff responded and was like, "Is someone going to tell him?"
I mean, you have to be completely brain dead to be a Toronto Maple Leaf fan or part of the organization or whatever and think that that's the case when you've played them so much. You have to know it's not true.
Yeah, you would think that they, playing in the same division as Brandon Carlo, they would realize that that's not his game at all.
No, it's good positioning. It's good stick. It's big and long and good penalty kicker. And all those things are great. And he's really good when he does that. But he is not. He'll do a little bit of the, sort of protecting that a little bit better than he did early on in his career. But other than that, no, he's just not that type of guy. So
no, not at all. That's not in his. It's not in his DNA. It really isn't.
I'm really see him play in the playoffs with Toronto.
Yeah.
I really.
He'll get into a little bit of a shoving match here and there. But when was the last time you saw Brandon Carlo drop the gloves with anybody?
I don't know, and I don't know if he doesn't do it also because of his concussion history.
Yeah, he shouldn't. He shouldn't.
He should not.
No,
especially when you don't fight a lot, because you're bound to get. You're going to be vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
The cam shows that even when the Bruins don't make it, they still find a way to hurt Toronto Stanley Cup hopes. Yeah, I mean, Jesus. Coyle went to Colorado. Is that what it was?
Yes.
Yeah. Coyle went to Colorado. Hey, throw him on the third line with somebody and see what happens, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, not too bad.
Yeah.
All right, so that wraps it up for tonight. Bruins get a win 4-0 with brand new players and a brand new outlook. And we'll be back at it Tuesday. Bruins are home against the Florida Panthers. No Brad Marchand. He's out about 3 to 4 weeks. But the Bruins, they've won a game, and they're still in it. And as always, for Bruins.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.